Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving deep into the story behind one of India's most important and, let's be honest, spectacular national holidays, Republic Day. Trust me, it's way more than just a parade. It's really the celebration of a nation's soul.
All right, let's tackle the big question right out of the gate, because I know it can be a little confusing. If India celebrates its independence on August 15th, what's all the fuss about on January 26th? It's a great question, and the answer gets right to the heart of how modern India was actually born. So here's the key difference, and it's a big one. Independence Day marks freedom from something, the end of British rule. But Republic Day? That celebrates the creation of something new, the moment India's very own rulebook, its constitution, officially came to life. Think of it this way. One day is about closing a long, difficult chapter, and the other is about writing the very first page of a brand new book. So, how did India go from being free to becoming a full-fledged republic? Well, it wasn't like flipping a switch overnight. Let's rewind the clock and trace this absolutely crucial journey from 1947. You know, here's a wild fact that a lot of people miss. Even after gaining independence in 1947, India wasn't technically a republic yet. It was a dominion, which, believe it or not, meant that King George VI was still the head of state. To be truly 100% sovereign, India had to create its own governing document from the ground up. And this journey took time. I mean, look at this. Just 2 weeks after independence, the drafting committee was formed. They worked tirelessly for over 2 years, and the Constitution was finally adopted in November of 1949. But they didn't just pick any old day to make it the law in the land. Oh no. They waited for a very specific, very symbolic date to bring it into force. And we really can't overstate what a massive, monumental task this was. The committee, brilliantly led by its chairman, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, had the incredible challenge of creating a single legal framework for a nation with just mind-boggling diversity. And what they created is now the longest written constitution of any country in the entire world. So, why that date? Why January 26th? Well, the date itself is pure symbolism. It was chosen specifically to honor the Purna Swaraj, or Complete Independence Declaration, which freedom fighters had made way back on January 26, 1930. Bringing the Constitution into force on that very day in 1950 was this incredibly powerful act of fulfilling an old, sacred promise. Okay, let's fast forward to today and see how this historic moment is celebrated. It's really this breathtaking mix of military might and vibrant cultural pride. And pretty much the entire country stops to watch. The absolute centerpiece is the Grand Parade in the capital, New Delhi. The President of India takes the salute as the armed forces march with incredible precision. And then you get these amazing, colorful floats, they're called tableaus, from all the different states, and each one tells a unique story about India's culture or its achievements. The whole celebration officially wraps up 3 days later with a beautiful ceremony called the Beating Retreat. But you know, when you strip away all the pageantry, the day is really a celebration of ideas. The parade isn't just a flex of military muscle, it's a powerful reaffirmation of the core values that the Constitution promises every single citizen. It's a reminder of what it means to be a self-governing, just and free nation, where everyone is equal. And here's another really cool tradition. Every single year, a foreign leader is invited to be the chief guest. This is such a smart move because it turns a national party into a major international diplomatic event, showing off India's relationships on the world stage. Okay, now for the fun part. Let's get a little glimpse into the future and talk about the 77th Republic Day Parade in 2026, because it is shaping up to be really special. The plans are already showing some historic firsts, which tells us the celebration itself is evolving. First off, the theme is going to be 150 years of Vande Mataram. It's all about celebrating the 150th anniversary of India's national song, which was written all the way back in 1875. How cool is that? And here's a huge diplomatic first. Instead of the usual one head of state, India is inviting 2 leaders from the European Union, Antonio Costa, the president of the European Council, and Ursula von der Leyen, the president of the European Commission. That's a big statement. Now, for all the military buffs out there, this is a big one. The Army is actually changing how it showcases its assets. For the first time, they're ditching the traditional marching lines for something called a phased battle array.
Basically, they're going to show their equipment in the same order they'd use it in a real mission. From surveillance and recon to the main strike to support. It's going to be way more dynamic and realistic.
The parade is also set to feature a really significant tribute. There's going to be a special tri-service tableau, that means the Army, Navy, and Air Force all together, commemorating Operation Sindoor, which was India's 2025 precision strikes on terror infrastructure. So when we pull back and look at all of this, the history, the celebrations, the future, what's the big idea? What's the real promise of the Republic that this day is all about?
It really boils down to this simple but incredibly powerful idea. It's about how one document, the Constitution, created one sovereign republic, which united an unbelievably diverse population into one modern nation. Everything flows from that single text.
And that kind of leaves us with one last thing to think about. A parade for sure celebrates a nation's strength, its military power, its cultural vibrancy. But Republic Day celebrates something much deeper. It celebrates the ideas that are supposed to make it strong. And that makes you ask, what are those ideas of justice, liberty, and equality really worth? And how does a country recommit to them again and again, year after year?